make a lot of videos like this, but this one hit close to home, so we're gonna get into it. Recently, Micah Wilder of Adams Road, a ministry that was geared towards helping people leave Mormonism or the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, which I don't prefer to call it, people who are in that, trying to help them to come out of it, telling testimonies of how amazing God is and how he can save people from that. It recently was discovered that he was involved with some egregious sin with him and the band members. If you have kids, this video is not for kids. This is really serious, so you may want to pause it. Add it to your watch later playlist on YouTube, and we can talk about this. I'm about to talk about this when you're in a safe place to talk about it. So Micah Wilder, along with different band members and also this man who claimed to be a prophet, who was behind the scenes as sort of a leader, spiritual mentor, they were all involved in different degrees in this polyamorous relationship. And it's not technically polygamy because there wasn't an official multiple weddings, multiple marriages that were involved, but there's something called spiritual wifery, which was involved, and it's just so nasty. And the sad thing is that all of these people had actually come out of Mormonism. They were former Mormons, but it was one of the greatest sins and the weirdest parts of Mormonism, although there's several that we could talk about later if you've done your research. It is not a Christian denomination, FYI. I hope that you know this already, but if you don't, I would love to share that with you in all the ways that it is a false gospel, a false Jesus. It is not the same 100% at all. It's totally different. But one of the things that Joseph Smith encouraged his followers to do, and something that he did, is to have multiple wives. And so you can see the same demon that was a part of the original movement of Mormonism. The same demon was what convinced them, deceived them into this sort of commune lifestyle where wives were being shared. There was homosexual activity going on as well. And they were claiming to be this shining light, this shining ministry. So very sad. It's a little bit devastating if you heard his testimony before and you were really moved and touched by it. And I know that I was, because recently I actually discovered that I had grown up in a cult. I didn't realize that I was in a cult, and I became an atheist and after that. And so I kind of, in a way, I didn't really need to know that it had been a cult, because when I came to the Lord, I became a Christian. In my heart, I didn't really know why, but I didn't want to be a part of that cult anymore. I just said, I want to be a Christian, even though they were claiming that they were the best Christians ever. So I really am thankful to God that he brought me out of that. But all that to say, a lot of testimonies of people coming out of cults have really ministered to me in my recent past. And so this hit me really hard. But the thing that I wanted to share with you all about is that when we see these amazing testimonies out there, and there are some so cool, so amazing testimonies out there, and I love hearing them, and we need to hear them because they light us on fire. That changes something inside of us that says, yeah, God can do that for them. That means he could do that for me, or he could do that for my lost family member. It ignites this fire inside of us. So we need to hear fresh testimonies, but a testimony is not all that you need to follow Jesus. I've seen this a few times now, I think 3 actually, where someone was in a cult and then they end up finding God, but this sort of spiritual pride develops in them, and they don't really get rooted in the truth of who God is, and they don't give themselves time to mature in his goodness and in the body of Christ. They don't necessarily get plugged in to a body and don't necessarily submit under someone who's discipling them. And they end up either joining a Christian cult or operating as if they're Christian, but doing all of these really underhanded, shady things that are not of God at all. And so I just want to encourage all of us, in the wake of this sadness, in the wake of something so sorrowful that is happening, and some of the band members were totally unaware of all this. Some of them participated in it but were repentant. And then those at the top of it, they appear to be, to my knowledge, unrepentant of their sin. So this is egregious and awful, but what we can learn in the wake of this is we have to get rooted. And as hard as it is sometimes, we need to be submitted to a local church, to an authority structure over us, to prevent us from falling into the same kind of sin that they did. You don't need a flashy testimony to love the Lord. It's great if you have one, and that can encourage a lot of people, but that is not your get out of hell free ticket. It's not going to save you for the rest of your life. An ongoing, deep, and committed relationship to God and to the process of Him sanctifying you, that is going to be what saves you from the fire of hell. Okay? I know this was a really serious video, but we want you guys to grow in your love for God, and I hope that this is going to help you do that. Thanks so much for watching. Be so blessed.